Devotional time. You know, let's set a trend up in this mug, you know what I mean? Huh? You know what I mean? Little business casual underneath, you feel me? Okay, so, yeah, we gotta do that right there. Set a trend. Come on, Crawford. Cross him up with this. Mess him up with that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, here we go. Well, I just spit. Big old spit. Pick one. If you pick what? Yeah, we're gonna pick this one. Shout out to Tony D. All right, here we go. On my mama. All right, let me complain. I don't know how I got so ghetto. And it ain't even really ghetto. I'll just be playing. You know what I mean? All right, here we go. I can't breathe. Then you stop breathing. Anybody know the date today? I don't know. Let's shoot for it. All right, let's go with, what is today? Thoughts that materialize. Normal videos are really short, but what's the fun in that, right? We got to get warmed up. We got to get lathered up, right? All right, here we go. Thoughts that materialize. What I always feared has happened to me. What I dreaded has come true. That's Job, right? He feared a lot of different things, but it came true. If you know the story of Job, it's like my favorite story. So let's get into it. You have the ability to paint a picture of what your life is going to look like. You may not get all the details exactly right, but you certainly have a part in shaping your future. You definitely do. Manifestation is real. You know, believing in something and chasing it is real. Your perspective today has a lot to do with what happens tomorrow, right? So, let's take my daughter, for example. Sorry, daughter. And a few people around me, as a matter of fact, they are often telling themselves that they can't do something, or they've already beat themselves mentally. Their perspective is, I'm not good today, so I'm probably not going to be good tomorrow, right? My daughter, for example, in basketball, she had some years where she didn't play, right? And I first put her in a all boys urban black league where there's none but little ballers, and I was coaching her, and she barely touched the ball. So that might be the reason why she hates it so much, is because she didn't have a good time at it. And in soccer she was better than everyone else, and so in basketball she was kind of at the bottom. But it's only because I put her with boys. Now she's starting to catch up with the girls, but a lot of times she gets very frustrated because she's not able to do some of the things that she should have learned back in the day. I wasn't there to teach her, and she just took some years off from playing. So now she's got to catch up. She's got to put the work in, and it starts today. You know, your perspective today reflects and translates into tomorrow, right? The landscape of your future is in large part determined by what you think it will be and by how you see yourself in it, like hope and will. You know, you're willing something to happen. You have hope that something will happen. You're affecting the future. Look up those two definitions. I described them in a video a few months back, and I gave the definition, but I forgot the exact one. But hope and will, one of the two is you're expressing the future tense. I think it's, I don't know which one it is, but you're expressing the future tense when you will something. Yeah, I think it's will, right? So you're willing it to happen, but you have to have the will, right? And that comes from within you. This is the power of self-realization, okay? Which study, you know, I think it's these teeth. You know, I have two false teeth and then I have a chipped tooth. Stuff like this comes out like this, right? And that's why I trip over my words a lot, I think. If I had different teeth, maybe it'd come out better. Okay. This is the power of self-realization. And I also play around to keep people, like, you know, just in tune. Maybe they laugh and smile. I don't mean to get off subject. but pay attention. Sorry. This is the power of self-realization, which study after study seems to validate. That doesn't mean you can manipulate your future, but there's a strong connection between your perceptions and your outcomes. I'll give you a study I read about. They were in Africa, and doctors got together and they did a study on, I think it was AIDS patients, and people just with sickness, I think in general over there. But specifically, I remember AIDS, but I might be wrong. And what they did, they took a group and they gave them medicine, and they treated them that way, right, with medicine. Then they took a group and they didn't treat them with medicine. They treated them with prayer. They prayed for each other. They prayed for themselves. And their health took a dramatic change. It's real. Look up the study. I don't remember what it's called, but it was a study of prayer and medicine. And so one group prayed and one group was treated medically, right? And the group that prayed overall, statistically, their health grew and became better and better and better because of prayer, self-realization, and just manifesting that in their life, right? If that doesn't increase your faith, I don't know what will. I remember what did for me. I was talking to numerous pastors that were coming through the door to preach at Bible study at the Salvation Army. And I was in rehab. I was working the front desk. I had thrown my back out in the weight room. And so, it was just on my mind. I would write down questions for the pastors. We just shoot the crap when they come through, And so one pastor said, I asked him what to pray for. And he gave me 5 things, but he also told me to keep a prayer journal. It would increase my faith, right? So I started to write down my prayers, and they started to come true. I looked back 30 days, 45, 60 days in the past on my prayers on paper, and they were coming, and they were being answered. All I did was write them down. That's all I did was write the prayers down, and they were coming true. Okay, back to this. Those who have positive expectations experience positive results more often than those who have negative expectations. So it's vital to make sure your perceptions are positive. It's just like that example of the study I gave you of the individuals in Africa. If you have the option of painting a picture of your life, why not make it a good one? Envision your future, your accomplishments and achievements, and your God-given significance. It's kind of like Jim Carrey did. He wrote himself a $10 million check, placed it in his wallet until it was almost wore out. And then one day, he got a phone call, or he got a message that said you were going to make $10 million on this movie. He wrote it down. He expected it, right? Expectations can be tricky. Goals are more more positive, I would say, for your life. If you're placing expectations on an institution, on a school, on people, they're going to let you down because we're human. So try not to place expectations on yourself. Call them goals, because we're always going to fall short of expecting something, because God might have something different in mind. And placing expectations on a fellow man or woman, they're going to let you down eventually. So you don't want to grow a resentment towards that person because of the expectation you placed on them. Base it on what you know to be true. Okay, so let me back up. Envision your future, your accomplishments and achievements, and your God-given significance. Base it on what you know to be true, of course, not on your own sense of pride or unhealthy ways to satisfy your needs, but within the values and dreams God has given you. Paint a picture of where you want to go, what you want to be like, and what you want to accomplish. Expect good and pursue it rather than simply going through life without a plan and seeing whatever happens. Okay, so your ego is what protects your personality, your persona, and your inner self. There's 3 parts to you. The ego, right? Ego can be a good thing because it protects your values, your morals, your moral reasoning, right? And so that's your system, and your ego is the wall, and sometimes it gets in the way. It gets all puffed up, right? And then your persona is what you want the world to see you as, right? But you're not yet. But your inner self is who you really are. That's where your dreams, your aspirations, your morals, and values lie, right? So we want to protect that. So it's vital to make sure your perceptions are positive. You protect it by keeping a positive perception. If you have the options of painting a picture of your life, why not make it a good one, right? Base it on what you know to be true, of course, not on your own sense of pride or unhealthy ways to satisfy your needs, but within the values and dreams God has given you. Paint a picture of where you want to go, what you want to be like, and what you want to accomplish. I'm not suggesting life will always be easy if you have the right thoughts, or that blessings will be showered upon you if you simply start thinking positively. But negative thinking sets you back. I've seen it happen again and again with athletes and teams living out their self-fulfilling prophecies. The way I see it, if these prophecies tend to be self-fulfilling, they might as well be positive ones. When I was a kid, when I was young, I was very talented in sports. And I was just naturally better than kids, most kids. When I grew older, that talent gap closed. Why? Because the kids were working hard. I wasn't, right? And then I began to take a negative outlook on life. I had no one in my ear to tell me, remain positive. This might be a test. Push through it. I didn't have that. I wish I knew I could turn to God at an early age and turn within, right? But I didn't. With God's help, His power, encouragement, and energy flowing through our lives, along with the gifts, abilities, and talents He has given us, we can shape the future. Because He created us, we have the potential of living lives of significance, possibility, and impact. Okay? Look at the kids that have made it out of the hood, the ghetto, the circumstances that didn't seem like they were set up for that person or that kid to make it out, but they made it out. And if you were to ask the majority of them how they made it out, is, they might have had someone that believed in them outside of their family, or maybe it was just a single mom that believed in them and told them, disregard your circumstances, that you can make it if you believe in yourself, right? Uncommon key, and we're going to end it. For better or worse, what you envision often begins to take shape. Be intentional and choose to envision a life of significance, possibility, and impact versus insignificance. I'm not worthy enough. I'm not smart enough. Yeah, you are. Just apply yourself. Possibility. Even the impossible is achievable. And impact. Choose a career that you might have impact on the world through, right? A lot of people choose a career based on salary, right? I want to be rich. But once you get rich, do you really love that career? Is it really having an impact on the world? Is that what you really want to do? Is that what your heart desires? All right. Today's reading was called Thoughts That Materialize. So keep a positive perspective today, because it will affect tomorrow. And so will a negative perspective. I love you guys. That's it. Bloop. Goodbye.